All right. Okay. We just had a little bit of a technical issue because Uncle Mick is changing up the whole studio, and it's going to be sweet when he finishes. I'm impressed, and I gotta tell anybody, it's hard to impress me, but I'm impressed by this young man. I'm glad we met. I'm glad that's my brother. But anyway, back to what I was saying before. Okay, so the whole point of the Willie Lynch letter, I don't care whether you don't believe in it or not. We good? All right. I don't care whether you believe in it or not. I don't care whether you believe he ever existed. That is irrelevant. That is immaterial. What is relevant, though, is the system of things that have been put in place in which we play a role in every single day. I don't like him because he tall, or he think this, she think that, she thinks the other. In ancient Yoruba, which is in West Africa, there was a point in time where when people were first created, I'm going to go back and give you a little historical creation story, where everybody looked the same. And everybody looked the same. Number one, they were grateful to be alive, but because people looked the same, they didn't know whether they were going to their house or whether they were going to their brother's house or whether they were going to their sister's house, whether they're going anywhere else. So they complained. So in this story, God puts everybody to sleep and he makes them different. Dark, light, tall, long hair, short hair, thicker, curvier, all these other things. And then people still were upset because they weren't. Why she got more body than I do? Why is he taller than I am? And why is her hair prettier than mine? And why is he built tall different than me? And why is she built different than me? How come I couldn't have more this or that or the other? Right? And so from people being ungrateful for what they were and what they had, then of course, hey, here we go. We get ready to get into it real deep now. Then of course, jealousy and envy gets created. Now, if we look at this document, right, and we're going to take a look at this document momentarily, and we look at what the other society did with it, they used the very same principle, jealousy and envy, to create division among people. They also did stuff to women. And women, I don't care, go back and read, go back and look in your own life, were unfortunately the focus. And why? Because you got the oldest DNA in the world and you're the closest to God. And y'all just don't understand that, right? Your DNA is almost 4 million years old. The mitochondrial DNA that comes from Eve, 4 million years old. So you had to be the focus. You are more the focus than the man and the child because you bring the child to earth, right? You bear the child, you birth the child, you're the foundation for the child's life. All of those things are very important. Not to say that men are not important, but because you're the foundation for our nation, for our consciousness, for everything else, what happens is you got to be the focus of the destruction and the dissension that takes place as well. You can't be the foundation and be solid, hold the family together, do all these other things without there being an attack on you. The attack doesn't look like an attack, though. It looks like it's pretty nice. Looks like it's pretty sweet. Oh, we're going to offer her this position. Remember a couple of shows ago, I talked about Goldman Sachs, $10 billion for women's businesses that are run by women, more minority women than any other women. But I'm willing to bet again that what you cannot have is you cannot have black male leadership, man leadership, not male, black man leadership with you saying it's okay to run your business with him because what they'll say is you got a man there, you can't have him because this is for black women and black women only. Even if they don't say it, the stipulation is if you want this money, it's only got to be run by women. That too is division. They don't have anything like that for black men. There's no company that's got $10 billion set aside for black men to open up organizations and run them. I'm working on something right now. And nobody's going to say, hey, man, you can come over here and you can write a grant for, $2-3 million and to do your foundational program. It's going to help the community. But if I gave it to a black woman, she might have an opportunity to get it. The issue is if I give it to her, is she going to cut me out because of the social thing that we have going on now? Or is she going to say, hey, well, here's your money. I was just a front person. Let me get my cut and I'm going about my way. Or let me get my cut and I'll help you out in running the program, which is what it should be. But I promise you, if Goldman Sachs finds out that you have a black man as a partner in there somewhere, you won't receive another dime. And they're going to want the money that they gave you back. And if not, they'll sue you for it. I could be wrong. Go check it out and find out. But I'm willing to bet if you got a program and they know that you're running with a black man, your husband or somebody else, that what you won't do is you won't be able to get that money ever again. And they're going to sue you for it because you were being disingenuous because you didn't tell them that you had a black man helping you run the program. But anyway, so remember, jealousy and envy, and they use that, right? Jealousy and envy is what's in the world. And even the late Zimbabwean president, I think he was from Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, said some of the same things. He said God made woman perfect, right? And he was telling this to a group of men. He said God made woman perfect, but what she'll do is she'll cut her hair off and buy some other hair to put on, and go to the doctor and get her body's perfect, but she wants to have more, so she get larger breasts or bigger behind or whatever else, and she'll cut her nails off and then go add fake nails and take her eyebrows and cut them off. So if she's not happy with her, how in the world is a man gonna be happy? That too is jealousy and envy, and another idea that somebody else's beauty is better than ours. I'm saying it one more time. That's somebody else's idea that somebody else's beauty is better than ours. Because they trained us that way. If you lie with dogs, you get bit by fleas. All right. Big Bad, let's go ahead on and take a look here. Let's go ahead on and take a look at this so we can make people extra upset, which I don't care. Good morning, Miss Taz. How you doing? Good afternoon. How you doing? How are you and the family? How are the children? Good. Okay. So this is the very first picture, right, of this document, the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. All right, we can go whenever you're ready.
That was the next one.
Yep. Okay. No, we should leave it right there. I want people to take a look at that. So the infamous Willie Lynch letter gives both African and Caucasian students and teachers some insight concerning the brutal and inhumane psychology behind the slave trade. And they've continued it. It continued with de facto segregation. It continued with Jim Crow. It's still going on, right? It's still going. New Deal, Old Deal, ADC, all of this other stuff. They still have it where if you're a woman with children and your children's father is around, he still can't come and be part of the household to help raise the children. I heard one sister say, because the state becomes the father of the child, then when the daddy calls the child home, there ain't nothing you can say or do because you took the money from the state and the state owns the child, whether it be Section 8, whether it be food stamps or whatever. And when daddy calls, the child got to go. There's some truth to that. The materialistic viewpoint of Southern plantation owners that slavery was a business and that the victims of chattel slavery were merely pawns and an economic game of debauchery, cross-breeding, interracial rape, and mental conditioning of a Negroid race considered to be subhuman. And they use science in that. What Charles Darwin was one of the first scientists, go check it out, was one of the first scientists that said that, along with a few other people, they really didn't have a real platform, scientific platform, but he was one of the few people that were also talking about how African people were genetically inferior to European people, to Mongoloids, and everybody else. Meanwhile, what people are finding out now, the more and more that they dig, the more and more they're finding out. The deeper you dig, the darker the finds. So even the Han Dynasty that started the first dynasty in China was run by black people. Genghis Khan was a black man. Say it one more time for the people in the back that didn't hear me. Genghis Khan was a black man, and they built the Great Wall of China because they were afraid of him. All right, we go. We're going to have fun with this. People going to be all upset. Oh, there's my sister. Okay. Okay, so they talk about how even though this is a very short period of time, right? So we got to go back and remember. Just go back and remember that even in 1441, when Pope Nicholas I, I believe that was the correct pope, I have to check with one of my brothers to make sure, wrote a papal bull that said African people who were not Christian and worshiping Christ the way that they wanted to, or way that they felt he should, could be taken as slaves and turned into Christians. So they became missionaries, right? So even if you look at people that go that, I got a church and I'm a missionary, it's not your job to go over there and change them people. It's your job to help them. But what we want to do is convert them to Christ, or convert them to be Muslim or whatever, and do it that way, which changes them away from their culture, because you'll figure their culture is not worth it. If you're going to go help somebody, don't ask them to change their beliefs. Just go help. Oh, just because I believe in this way, my way is better than your way. Really? That's being very, it's not even spiritual. It's not even spiritual arrogance. That's just arrogance, because you feel that the way that you live is better than them, instead of you going to them and living under their cultural idea and helping because of your humanity, humanity, your humanity, to go help. Anyway, let's go back, big bro. Okay, so the slave trade only lasted really about 150 years. So you don't have African people, you don't have the continent to be divided up until 1884, right? So from 1442 to at least 1884, 400 years on the continent, you only have those ports along the edges of the continent on the western side, where Goree Island is, where the Cape Coast is, Castle Elamina, that Europeans can only import slaves from there, enslaved African people, prisoners of war from there. Now, what they did was they turned people on the inside. So don't forget now, you've had 1,500 years of Islam. You've had the change from Kemet to being what it is to Islamic. So yeah, all of North Africa from the equator north turned to be something else. And because they felt that they could subjugate other people, they did so, and they sold them as part of the slave trade. So yeah, people taking African people from Africa also to Saudi Arabia, which is where you get the dark-skinned people at. But you also had people from Europe who were selling. This is in a book called The History of the Modern World, written in 1953, that were taking people from Europe and taking them to Saudi Arabia and selling them, which is where you get the light skinned Arabs from. They were selling their women and children. The Gauls, the Malamutes, all of those groups. Now, so then what you do is you have the slow crumbling of massive ancient civilizations because they're being invaded and broken apart from the inside, because you have invaders on the inside who want a piece of the power. Meanwhile, the monarchs are slowly giving away their power through marriage, trade, other things, and other stuff that was taking place, and then eventually get subjugated. But you don't have the division and breakup of Africa until the Council of Berlin in 1884. And that's when you have these European countries come in and divide up the continent to what they have now. What we have now, when you see the borders and you cut people off, but they use the same thing. They use divide and conquer. So in 1984, when you have the Hutsis and the Tutsis, and they're killing each other, and you got this 800,000 people that die in 100 days, and the Dutch were the ones that part of it. And then because they saw that the war was getting bad, so they slide out with the help of other European countries, including America. They end up killing 800,000 of their own people, all because one group said, you're taller, so you're better than the other group. And these were families who lived together thousands of years before the Dutch came in the late 1800s. The Boers, Boers. Well, baby. Well, okay. All right. So now we have European traders who go in, right? And they're trading, right? Just like they did coming to North America. They did the same thing with the Native Americans. It started by trade, right? So they could figure out how to get in. Then the French come. Same thing. So when you go back and look at those Westerns, you got to look at them differently. The Lone Ranger was a black man. He wasn't the dude that they put on TV. He was a black man. And that's where they copied him from. But by going in, acting like I don't have an agenda, they have an agenda. They had an agenda. Slowly but surely, just like what happened here, when they came over and the Wampanoag on the East Coast, helped them survive from 1511 to 1513. And the first 211 settlers came over here and they didn't know how to survive the winter, and only 11 were left. And then in 1511 and a half, 1512, they sent over some more people because somehow where it got back to we found a way to start to survive, they brought over more people. And then after a while, more people started to come and they found out that they could survive because of what the Wampanoag had showed them how to do. And the next thing we know, there are no Wampanoag left. Same thing, divide and conquer. So the love story about this guy, whoever his name was, John whatever, and Pocahontas and all that other insanity, same crazy story. Oh, she fell in love with him and all this stuff. For real? There's two different versions of that story. One version said she fell in love with him. The other version story said he kidnapped her and raped her. Oh, but you believe which one you choose, but most of the whatever's left as far as the those tribes are living on little bitty reservations with nothing but alcohol and church and all the other insanity that they have. When you have millions of people that lived here, and now you got less than 100,000. You got to take a look at this. We got to look historically at what's going on, because we're really not, right? And I'm not saying that our women are wrong. I'm saying that our women are misinformed. And I'm saying that our women and our men, we need to go back and take a look at why we're misinformed and why we're in the state and the condition that we're in. We need to do it together, because together is the only way we're going to heal. I'm not blaming women for what it is that they get. I love the fact that Goldman Sachs is willing to give you $10 million, $10 billion, have access to $10 billion. But how come black men can't have access to $10 billion too? Because we're a non-factor as far as they're concerned. And if we can control black women, we can control black men and black children. You got to take a look at this a little bit deeper. It's not just about black women being able to get a hold of $10 billion to run a company. It's about continuing to create the haves and have-nots even inside your family. And personally, I've had that happen. When I was unemployed for a short period of time, only thing I wasn't considered to be the father or the man in the house. I was just considered to be some guy that was going to do stuff for people. They didn't say it, but the actions showed it. And now when I rebelled against the actions, then it was like, oh, well, we don't know what's wrong with him. There's something wrong with him. No, there's nothing wrong with me. You overstepping your bounds in my house. You're overstepping your bounds with me as a man, as an African man. But that's what people do when they figure that you're only used for one purpose and one purpose only. All right, we ready to go with the next one. You ready, big bro? All right, this next slide is about being able to tax the persons that were being brought in to the country to be used as chattel, and to be able to put a tax on every person of $10 per person of anybody that was imported. But you got to remember, coming up very soon is the Haitian Revolution. The Haitian Revolution starts in 1794. Definitely ends in 1804. But it starts early in the late 1790s, right? And from there, you have these men who are fighting, who were once again on a plantation, who are fighting against the French. And Napoleon was supposed to be the greatest military strategist next to Hannibal of Carthage. Let me be very clear. Next to Hannibal of Carthage. And so if we look at this tax, 1789, you're getting ready about 8 or 9 years before they start the Haitian Revolution. And in 1808, there was this stoppage of the importation of African people into this country by law. So they no longer imported African people in this country, but now you got about 6 to 9 million people, maybe. Now what you do is you close the borders and you start to do something different and bring in a different experiment, which is the reason why. And then let me back up just a little bit. And in this experiment, now you start to create, along with this Willie Lynch letter, along with the continue to divide and conquer, now you can create what you want to with the people that you have here. So now that's where you get the plantations that were used for sex traps, sex farms, where once you have a baby, you turn around, have another baby, you turn around, have another baby, you turn around, have another baby, until your body can't take it anymore, and then the woman may die from it, or the overseers coming down creeping. So you're growing a population that you can mold and control as a social experiment. So for a very long period of time, we became a social experiment, right? So from 1808 to 1863, supposedly with this Emancipation Proclamation, 1865, when it was finally the last people in Galveston, Texas, were told that they were free, you're now creating something else inside the borders of this country by your miscegenation, where people are sleeping with other people and families sleeping with families, and you don't know this young man is being taken from plantation to plantation, and he don't know who he's sleeping with. He don't know whether he's sleeping with his mama because he ain't never seen her. He ain't seen her in a long time. He don't know whether he's sleeping with his sister. He don't know whether he's sleeping with his cousin. He don't know what he's doing. All you know is he's being brought on there to breed. And then he's taken to another place. And because there's so much shifting and moving of people, right? So I want to give you a total picture. So much shifting and moving of people, then you control what's going on these plantations. You ready, big bro?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was about the taxes. Yeah.
You want to go to the next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. Yeah, that all of that's about the very beginning part of this particular idea is about taxes and what they made. Okay, rights of man. Well, if we talk about that, African people were not included in being rights of man when they wrote the Declaration of Independence. Because we were on there's very few free black people, and we were on the plantation, so we weren't considered to be parts of this particular document, this particular ideology, because you're still over here saying we're going to mold you to what we want. Meanwhile, we're doing whatever we want to. And remember, in 1832, there's a document called the Manifest Destiny that said we're going to come from one side of the country to the other side of the country, come hell or high water, and we don't care who we destroy in order to get there, and we don't care what we do to people in order to get there. All right? So the rights of man only were given to those people of European descent. They weren't given to African people. They weren't given to Native American people. They weren't given to free blacks that were here. It wasn't given to anybody. That only was inclusive of European people, and that was it. So the fight that we have been under over the last 150, 200 years, however long we want to call it, has been right to be seen as men in a country where people were taken and did to whatever they chose to do. So does your right as a man exist under the law when you weren't to be included in your right to be a man? You were not even thought of. Oh yeah, well, we're going to think about the Africans that we have enslaved here. No, they weren't thinking about you. And I get it. Well, we built this country, this owes us. And I get it. Oh, we're the native people here. They're not treating you that way. They're not treating you that way. So why are we acting like that they're treating us like we're equal, like we belong, like we're part of it? You weren't even part of the Declaration of Independence, whatever that is. Constitution, Bill of Rights. You don't have any of those. They had to put those in the law, and they did it several times. The very last time being the Voters' Rights Act in 1964 and the Civil Rights Act in 1965. But yet every 25 years they have to vote whether you're going to have the right to vote or not. Whether we, as African people in America, have the right to vote. How is that inclusive? The issue is that we have work to do. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to help us become less brainwashed. We have to read, we have to study, we have to get in, talk with people in groups so that we can start to do the work that we need to do in order to not be brainwashed the way that we are. Another book that I'm going to suggest, and then we're going to go to another slide real quick, is this book right here by Dr. Claude Anderson called Powernomics, right? Who writes an economic plan for Black people in America. This is what's called a national plan to empower Black America. Get the book and read it. And I don't care about your biases. That's what we have to get out of. Because I'm part of a group, and people want to argue how we're going to do stuff. Do stuff with your family first. Get your family to see that they can be free, independent, make some money, start businesses, and then spread that to other families. Everybody not going to want to be part of it, and that's okay. That's on them. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Because even Marcus Garvey said, a person that ain't no good in America is not going to be good in Africa, because he wanted to be the emperor of Africa. And now there's talk about pardoning him for what they claim that he did, over $25 in the 1900s. They're going to pardon him. We're going to give him a full pardon, let him off the hook, and but you destroy him and his family. So what in the world does that mean to give people a pardon after all of this time? We can go to the next slide when you're ready, big bro. I didn't mean to cut you off. What does that mean? What does it mean to pardon him 25 years later? Come on, slide on down. Let's get to the good stuff, because I like how they did this, but let's keep on going. Let's get to the letter. Okay, here we go. All right. Here we go. There we go. Okay, here's the beginning of the actual letter. All the other stuff was somebody else's they put in order to set the background for this. But the letter here starts with, and we kind of did it before, where he says he has a plan in order for you not to waste this chattel slave anymore. That if we implement this plan, it can stay in effect for 300 years or more. And that was in 1712. Now we're in 2025. That's well over 300 years. And we haven't figured it out yet. Because even with social media, and people want to focus on somebody saying how I have, in order to date me, you got to pay for this. But see, that's the focus. That's the divide and conquer again, right? That's where people say that I'm going to put this person out here in front of you, so you have to pay attention to her and not, you want to make this a big focus. That's irrelevant. Why would we even post that? First and foremost, if it shows up on your timeline, skip it. If you got social media, skip it. Because I don't care. She's not in my league anyway. Not that she couldn't be, but she's still childish and elementary. Well, in order to date me, you got this. Or when I go out with somebody, when I normally would only spend $200 on him, or if you take me out, I'm gonna make you spend $500. Why is that even? That stuff's irrelevant. But they put it in front of us all the time because they want to keep us looking at shiny things and small inanimate objects instead of the bigger picture. Because if a person that you're with, that you're talking to, understands where you're coming from, and they understand that you're on a higher level and a higher, what some people like to call a higher vibration, that you're in your godness instead of your low self, which we showed before when we showed Menahotep IV and Set and Heru, and on one side was the lower side and the other side was the higher side. If she understands that, then she understands that she's going to have a role to play, and she's not going to ask you to spend $500 on a dinner. Because if she wants to spend $500 on a dinner, that might be cool. But on the other side of that, she's going to work with you on a plan to make $2, $3, $4, $5 million, $500 million. So how come the discussion before it gets to I got left and walked out with a meal or you got to send me $500 in the first place is that's the reason why I like you. I think you're attractive, but what's your plan for tomorrow? I'm on this. I'm doing this. What's your plans? Right? I just run across the somebody sent me a feed about the rapper that went to jail and he gave his girl $2 million and she turned around. Yeah, turned around and gave him $6 million when he got out of jail 4 or 5 years later because she took the $2 million and flipped it and rolled it over. Yeah, he married her. He's supposed to. She didn't go spend it over no dumb stuff. She turned it into a business, made her money out of it, gave him his $2 million back, and she took the other way, and they still together. So she had a plan. He was just giving her the $2 million to hold on to and take care of whatever you needed to until, is that right? Am I right? Yeah. So where y'all at like that? You understand what I'm saying? But they keep on sending us this low level, low vibration stuff, and then that creates again division between us and our women. Because if a woman needs to have $500 in order to I gotta pay you $500 in order to date you, you already know what you are. And I'm gonna collect at the end of the night. Trust that. But why is that even something we talking about? Now, when we talk about what's his name, Gucci Man,
Yep.
she took $2 million before he went to jail and flipped it to $6 million. Can you do that? That's what you should be doing. And then he married her as soon as he got out. He wasn't out of jail 2 days. And he worked for her. I don't know if he do any music or not anymore. Yeah, he still doing music? Okay. But yeah, he working for her. Come on. But that's where she had a plan with whether and was going to work the plan with him. And the reason why they were together, in my opinion, in the first place, is because he was very clear that she had a plan to work with him. If that makes sense. I could be wrong, but she had a plan to work with him. So therefore, when he wasn't there, based upon whatever they put him in jail for, she turned around and said, I'm going to do this deal anyway.
No, she did what she was supposed to do, like what he told her to make the move.
Yeah.
He said she could have took that money and was shopping.
Yeah. She turned around and turned it into $6-8 million.
As she should.
Yeah. Because she had a plan for him, for them.
Facts.
For them. So if I got to spend $500, if I got to send you $500 off the rip, I'm not even talking to you. You're not wasting my time with you. I'm not wasting my time with you. If I'm going to spend $300 or $400 on dinner and we're sitting here talking and I ask you these questions and you can't answer those questions and they're not going to be easy questions, after dinner, I'm not going to get up. I'm going to be very cordial. I'm going to pay for dinner. Then you gone. You'll never hear from me again. Because you weren't the one. You just was out for a meal. And that's cool. I paid for the meal. I ain't mad. I'm going to keep it moving. But if you're the one that's talking about some things that we can do together, trust me. Oh, we on. Let's go. And now we can not only do that, but we can do some other things as well. So every month we talk $10, $15, $20,000, $30,000 every month, $50,000 every month. Oh, now we talking. But just because, you got to send me $500 to date me. I got you, sweetie. I'm not. Oh, well, you won't be seeing me. I'm not gonna waste my time. I don't care how fine you are. I send you $500 for you to get yourself together first, but you can't afford to get yourself together your own self. But this is the stuff that they're sending us, right? This is stuff that people are emulating because of their weak-mindedness. And we got to get out of that. So we have to study how we got where we are and how we can also get out of it. This document is one way that we can read and go like, if we really read it and examine it, we can see within ourselves, you know what? Dang, it was wrong for me not to like her because her hair was short or she's dark skinned or, I just didn't like her because of that. Or I called her name. Or because he dark skinned, he light skinned and tall, he think he a pretty boy. We can fight and break the system within our own selves, which means we can fight and break the system within our families. And once we start to do that, then we become liberated. Which is at the end of the day, what we should be desiring to do in the first place is liberation. Right? So if we're talking about economic liberation, there's this man who wrote this book, Dr. Claude Anderson, called Powernomics. It's one of the ways that we can do. I'm not saying just use him, use other people. If you decide that you're going to go out and you're going to write to Goldman Sachs to see if you can get some of that money, do so. But hire black men and black women to work for you. And be honest and open and sharing it. You ain't got to tell them what you're doing. You can keep that self a secret. Yeah, I got a black man who works beside me as my partner. They don't have to know. Lie to them and tell them you don't. Because they're going to want to know. And they're going to come and investigate who, where, when, how, and why, and what happened with their dollars. That's what people do when they give that type of money away. They don't have to know that you have a black man working with you in order to build your business. Lie to them. They lie to us. They lie to us all the time and tell us it's the truth. So you mean to tell me you got to go and be honest with them? Come on, man. They better not show letting me get a chance to get any of that $10 billion to do something with, because it's a wrap. Oh, another book I want y'all to look at getting, and we're going to hit one more slide, is the 1619 Project, right? The sister lays the stuff out. I was impressed with this. It's called the 1619 Project. It's pretty rough. Yeah, I know. We got to put another list together. And last book. This brother wrote for Ebony years ago. It's called Before the Mayflower by Lerone Bennett Jr. This definitely a must-have to be in your library. I think I've read this book like 4 times, and every time I read it, there's more and more new stuff in there. And this is the last one that he put out because he passed it. He was 93 years old when he passed away. But this is like the 3rd or 4th printing of this book. It was published by, this was in Chicago in 2007. And I think he passed away in 2003. He was like 93, 94 years old. But that's a good book to have. All right, let's hit one more slide, big bro. Because then we're gonna shut it down. And we're going to let people have the rest of their Sundays.
This one or another?
Yeah, let's go down some more. I want to really get into the story of how he did what he did. Okay. All right. So here's the beginning. Okay. There's the beginning of where he says, this is how we start. At the top of my list is age. So the older person against the younger person, right? So I'm going to tell a little story real quick. I went over one of my daughter's house for we did a Kwanzaa at her house. She was in the hospital. She gets out, and there's a bunch of young people over there. Never seen them before. I don't know who they were. They were some of my nieces and nephews, people they went to school with, right? And I come in the house, and they sitting there, and they ignore everybody, which is, you don't do that in Africa. You will not do that. If you walk into a room in Africa, everybody, every young person either will get up and allow you to have a seat, right? And as much as we sit around there and talk about stuff that we think that we know, they're far more courteous than we ever could imagine, right? There's far more honor as being family than what we could ever imagine. So nobody moved, and I just sat there and watched. I sat down for a minute and I watched, and I sat down for a minute and watched. And when they were getting ready to do the day, which of the 7 days, it was one of the days. I don't remember whether it was Kujichagali or whichever one it was, right? They're getting ready to light the candle. Now I went smooth off. So first and foremost, I walked into this house and none of you all said a word. And then you sat there. You didn't acknowledge anybody else in the house other than your own little peer group. I don't know who you are, and I should tell you to get out of my house. And they looked at me kind of funny. But the adults was quiet because they understood where I was coming from. And I cut into each and every one of them. I said, I don't know who you are, but you're here with my family. It's not your family, it's my family. And you didn't come, you didn't speak to me, you didn't say anything to me. When I walked in the house, you didn't even look at the door. I said, that's rude and disrespectful. And I went off on every one of them in there. Then I turned it around and made them tell me who they are, what they want to be when they grow up, and all this other stuff. And I said, if I see you in the street ever again, if you don't speak to me, you think I cut into you this time, I'm going to make it real bad the next time. I'm going to cause a scene. You better look at me and know my face. I'm understanding. I'll go home to the school where you work at, and I better be the first one when I walk in there that you speak to. I said, that's disrespectful, because this is what I'm talking about by this. You older, we don't have nothing to do with you. I said, and I asked them what grade they were in, and they were like 10th to 11th grade or whatever. I said, but I can teach every class that you have and teach you everything that you need to know in the grade that you're in. And then when you decide that you want to go, and this one kid wanted to be a MMA fighter, young man, and another girl wanted to be a neonatologist, and another girl wanted to be a cosmetologist. And I told each and every one of them somebody that I know that they could go learn this from. And they were sitting there with their mouth open like, oh, boy. I said, that's the reason why you don't throw away somebody that you don't know. So the next time you see an older person in your house or out, speak to them. And see, we don't do that anymore. Kids think we have to speak to them first. And I do. Hey, what's up, young man? How you doing, young lady? Whatever. But it's about just the courtesy of being able to do that. So he starts to go with this. And here's a list, right? He starts with age. Then he goes next is color. Then intelligence, size, sex, size of the plantation, status on the plantation. So he uses everything. Attitude of owners, whether slaves live in the valley, on the hill, north, south, east, west, have fine hair, coarse hair, tall or short. So now all of these lists of differences that this person made up to constantly drive this idea in people's head that, okay, so the slave master came and slept with this woman and she got a light-skinned child, so the light-skinned child is given a different pedestal because they're closer to white folk. So we do the same thing. Don't act like we don't. We do it. Oh, you must think you better than me because you light-skinned. That's how God made me. What is that? What does that got to do with that? No, you just think you, oh, you black, so we got to get back. They're all the same stupid stuff that we went through when we was younger. We still do it. But this is where it comes from. This comes from this person who used indoctrination in order to create what they created. So if you continue to create distrust and mistrust, which is where we are now, because we don't trust each other. We say we do, but we don't. Well, what you like me for? You must want something. If I like you and I want something, I'm going to tell you. I'm at that age now where I can do that. I say, hey, look, I think you're fine. What's up? Or I think you're attractive and I want to know what you're about. Or I don't like the vibe, so I'm going to keep it moving. But this was used in order to create the distrust that we still feed off of today. And it's become very destructive in our community. And now our children are the carriers of this mistrust. Oh, don't tell my child what to do. You're going to hurt my child. What do I get out of that? And then when the child is not doing really well at school, it's everybody else's fault but yours. Everybody else's fault. My fault. You didn't teach him right. You didn't teach him at all. That's a whole nother story. But this is where this comes from. A system that was put in place to constantly keep this mistrust, this jealousy and envy that I talked about before, even in the creation story, this jealousy and envy that says you better than them. 800,000 people got killed in A matter of 100 days. 800,000 in a matter of 100 days. All because one group of people who left them told them that you better than them because you taller than them and they shorter than you. They're all the same color. These are all same family. They're different ethnic groups.
I'm saying that. I ain't like the Hollywood version,
Right.
Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah, I know. I gotta watch the other version.
Sometimes it rain
I gotta watch that. You mean
don't get me wrong, that version with Don Cheadle because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
But you go see this Sometimes it rain in April.
I'm gonna definitely make sure that I check that out.
Everything that you're saying is true. Like they said, they was getting together for thousands of years.
Yeah.
It was the Watusis, the Hutus, and I forgot who the third one was.
Yeah, there's another smaller group there. Yeah.
It was them three. And you are exactly right when you said the Belgium came in. They the ones gave them the machetes to do that.
To do the killing.
Yeah, which was
killing their own family members.
Yeah.
Killing their own family. It's like right now, I think I heard in the Sudan, they talking about if you black or if you claim that you black, we're going to execute you. That's the insanity. And Sudan is supposed to be a Muslim country. Now, I'm not claiming Islam or whatever, but it's the insanity. It's the same stuff.
Yeah, when you see him, but look who coming over there. Like, who taking them. The only thing I get with them, like my disagreement, I don't believe. And like I said, I can be proven wrong. But see how we get it. We get the people who come in and get it. Like with Islam, everybody think Arab started it.
Right. No, they didn't. It was African.
It was African.
Right.
And that's what like my biggest beef with it. Like every time they do it, always it's like we being usurped. Somebody else coming in saying they did it and they take it and then they run with it and they put they spin to it.
Right.
And then it become a dirty religion.
Right. Well, see, what many people don't want to understand and or read the facts. Bilal, who's the Ethiopian, he's from Ethiopia, who was the one who taught Muhammad the surah and how to pray. Muhammad didn't know that, but he's not in part of the story, right? So when Muhammad leaves and goes in the mountains or whatever, who is he meeting with? He's supposed to be meeting with God. Who is there? Bilal. Just like if we go back, and there's a book in the Bible that's not in there, but he's mentioned, Enoch.
Yeah.
Enoch the Ethiopian, who was the one who told, if you read this book, go get the book, Enoch the Ethiopian, he goes back to Adam in a dream. He tells Adam that he was wrong, and he makes Adam in spirit create and correct the wrongs that he did to right the world. But they pull that book out of the Bible, right? And they pull other books out of the Bible that said these things were corrected because Adam came back as spirit and corrected the things that were wrong, because it wasn't Eve that was wrong, it was Adam that was wrong, because he didn't do anything. If we follow the story, he didn't do anything to correct that, to save Eve from what could have happened, right? He didn't do anything, so he was wrong. So Enoch goes back in his dreams, forces him, Bilal, Black History of Islam. Thank you. Oh boy. Yeah, you got to come and hang out with me on the show. We got to have dinner or something, you, me, and your husband. Because, yeah. But he forces Adam to correct himself because you were wrong in supposedly sitting there and allowing her to go explore the garden and you didn't go with her. So the fruit that was pulled was not the fruit from a tree. The fruit that he got was having sex with her. But that wasn't wrong. That's how you procreate. That's how you create new cells. So they want to say, oh, it's pulled from a tree. That was symbolism, right? And then the snake, who was the one? The snake is representative of something African, right? Because if you look at all of the pharaohs, they have a snake on the uraeus on the death mask, which means I'm going to be reincarnated. Because when a snake sheds its skin, they don't know whether it's a new snake or an old snake that just got bigger and shed its skin. So so he's regenerating himself and becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's where the idea of being born again comes from, or reincarnation. So we took all of this stuff from Mustafa Briggs. I'm definitely got to look at that, find that book. We took all of this stuff from ancient Kemet, turned around and used it for what we wanted for it, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. And Christianity wasn't Christianity until after Christ was supposedly born and died. That's not what it was. They had no name for it. It's not practicing its rightness anyway. But we're going to stop right there, ladies and gentlemen. I know we took up quite a bit of y'all time. I appreciate Uncle Mick for hanging out with me today and allowing us to start to do the healing work that we need to. We got to look at ourselves and go, like, when we have those little things, like, I wouldn't be mad at somebody that figure, okay, you got to spend money on me in order for me to get ready for my date. I can choose not to. I'm not mad at her. If somebody pays for it, that's on them.
Facts.
If I spend $500 on a date, trust and believe, baby, something's happening when the date's over. Because you're going to know that already. This is the tip for the bill. If if I take you to dinner and I know we can't have a conversation, dinner's over in a hurry. We ain't having no real conversation. We're going to sit there and the manager's looking at this watch, somebody's time for y'all to go. Right. I want to be there. We're going to be there all night. We got a good conversation. And I don't care nothing about paying the bill. That's no problem. But if we can't have a conversation, you get the salad combo. We got to go. We ain't having a good conversation. This stuff ain't matching. So but they put that on social media for us to have stupid stuff to argue about. And that's what it is. Those are just little things for us to sit there and argue about instead of what's the bigger picture. What's the bigger picture? We got to fix our family. We got to fix ourselves. I don't know. When I see you, that's my brother. Right. If I don't see you, hey man, you did, that was my fault. Yeah. Holler at me, bro. Hey man, what's up? You did? Oh man, you know what? I was deep in thought. I just missed you.
Facts. Now you always be when you be, hey, how you doing, brother?
Yeah.
I can't say you ain't changed the first time I met you.
Yeah. So but we have to be that way. We can't be one day you stepped on my shoes and I'm mad at you. Well, under their shoes, I don't care. But it's family. And if we understand that we're just, sometimes always family ain't always blood. Yes, it is. Right. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's always, because all our blood is interconnected. Right. And all our blood comes from these great women that don't know that they're great anymore. Right. But if they start to eat some of this stuff and it starts to soak in their spirit about what it is that doesn't make me great, that I've lost my greatness. Like I told this one sister, I don't need a queen. I'm looking for a goddess. A queen is low level. You still about stuff down here. I ain't talking about that. A goddess is elevated way up here. And she in touch with her God part. That's what I'm looking for. And she looked at me real funny. I said, but if that doesn't trigger something in you, then I'll wait till it does, because you ain't ready yet. You ain't ready yet. She ain't understanding. She's still sitting there befuddled. I'm like, get her a salad. Get an extra tomato and a little cucumber, and we out of here. Facts. She ain't ready. If you telling me I gotta spend I have to, out of my pocket, send you $500 for you to get ready for our date. I'm gonna send you $100 and I'm gonna collect the other $4 because I'm coming over to collect my bill. Or I'm not sending it to you. If I'm stupid enough to send it to you, then I'm the fool. I'm the fool. Then I should have lost that $500.
I get it.
But if you on this God level, then I'm gonna go with you. And I'm going to tell you what I like and how I like for you to be for me. And I wouldn't have no issue with spending it because I'm investing in you and your godness.
No, you're right.
I'm investing in your godliness. And then from there, I'm going to teach you how I need you to be a goddess. You ain't going to like it because you're going to only be queen. I don't need that low-level stuff. That's low-level stuff. That's low level stuff. You talking about earthly stuff, and I can command it. You can't command your God.
Right.
Command God because you can.
Right. I get it.
Yeah, but they don't, and that's the crazy part.
Right.
Yeah, we'll pick this up from where we left off at. Now we may have to do something either remotely because next weekend I'll be out of town.
I can send you a link.
Okay, and then we could do it remotely because I have my computer, I have my laptop with me.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
We won't miss nothing.
Okay. All right. Cool. That'll work. Because hey, look, I'm telling y'all, I told y'all before that this man's a genius, and y'all people be thinking I'm playing. I walked in here and we got a whole different setup, and when he figured it out, he rough.
Yeah, we ain't even touched the surface. I'm just finishing up. I'm finna finish this room.
Yeah, he rough. This is rough.
Be all you.
Yeah. Oh boy, baby.
All you. The sign is on the way. I have all that put up by tomorrow.
Okay.
Everything.
I might have to come over here after work just to see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything gonna be put up.
Yeah. This is African genius at its best. All right. This is African genius at its best. This is not some, I kind of sort of, whatever. No, we would have been on this African genius stuff even when we invented things. The only issue is, and y'all gonna be pissed off about me when we do Black History Month, because I'm just gonna destroy this whole notion that we just doing this thing and it ain't what we think it is, because it's not. I ain't gonna give y'all no tip on it, but when we do our first show in February, it's gonna be hard, and I'm gonna make a bunch of people upset, and that's fine, because I want you to think about what it is. I want you to think about what it is.
I'll be ready.
I hope they be ready.
Yeah, I'll be ready. And we should have everything. Everything should be straight there. Everything. We can get busy.
Man.
We're going to be able to get busy. And these mics will be working.
Okay.
We'll be using this.
This man. Hey, look, this brother got a setup. He rough. He rough. This is genius at its best. Let me get that book real quick by a sister who sent that book in. We're going to have to sit around there and we're going to have to sit around there and we're going to have to get caught up. I'm going to have to sit down and me, you, Uncle Mick, your husband, or whoever that dragged you from Detroit up here, and we're going to have to hang out. Beyond Bilal.
We're going to be able to put something together. I got something in the Matrix.
See?
Something in the oven.
Yeah, see. He the man.
Whenever you're ready, let me know.
Okay.
I said not an ending whenever you want to let
me know. Yeah. We done. We done.
All right. Well, peace, family.
Yeah, all right, fam. Peace. I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Next week, we'll pick it up from where we left off at, and we'll get more into digging into this, removing these vices and this stuff that we're dealing with. And, we got to get this work done. All right?
Peace.
Peace.